guess I can talk about the South Park episode that was on the other day, since I actually got a chance to watch it for reasons I'm not going to really get into because it's kind of low-key personal. I didn't find it funny. I get that South Park is always known for being offensive, I guess, and that's fine. I completely get that, but honestly, South Park hasn't really been that funny in a very long time. I will give them credit though that they actually did poke fun at the Orange Man that a lot of people are hating on right now, unless they're just... Okay, I really don't want to get too political. I kind of feel like talking about South Park is already too political enough, since they tend to make fun of anyone and everything, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's always been their shtick since its inception. My problem is that it just stopped being funny. A lot of the older episodes, at least they were both engaging and that it made fun of everyone, but they're also actually funny. If you go back and watch the South Park movie, you are at least guaranteed to find moments in there that not only speak volumes and just how much shit is aged pretty well, but the fact that you're also watching something that can also be funny. Even some of the in-game radios of GTA 5 can at least give you a good chuckle or two. Whereas South Park is just a 22-minute episode with maybe one or two moments out of the entire bit that's actually funny. The only bit they actually found that was kind of funny is that Cartman basically becomes suicidal because he just lost the urge to make fun of people, I guess, because wokeness is dead. It's kind of weird too, because if you don't know what the hell woke is, you're not going to really get it unless you've been keeping up with South Park or modern day culture, I guess. So it just wasn't really that funny. And it's also weird because I remember reading up an article online about how they referenced the South Park movie because Satan's in there. And yes, they actually used the joke twice, which I don't really understand. It wasn't really funny the first time, and in the second one, it just wasn't really that much better. He hardly plays a role in the episode. He was just kind of there as a shitty gag, and that's about it. Same thing with Jesus too. It was basically hyped up that he's essentially delivering people a message, but it turns out that they're trying to... I don't know. It was just a really dumb episode, honestly. I get that a lot of people were they're probably ass mad if they were offended, which, if you're going to be mad at South Park because it's offensive, you're kind of using the wrong energy, to be honest. I could probably watch an older episode of South Park, probably back when the show was in its single digits, and probably find something that's just more interesting. But the newer ones just honestly haven't really been that funny. It is at least more worthwhile to keep around compared to something like The Simpsons or Family Guy or even American Dad that's even a thing anymore. I don't even know, nor do I care, but I do know that South Park is just not funny anymore, which sucks because South Park used to be that show that not only poked fun at everyone, but was also funny. There was a lot of really great moments within the show, even before it all went all super serious, I guess. The only episode I really remember from the modern times that was at least somewhat interesting is the Black Friday episode, but it's just there's not even any moments in this modern episode which I thought was just actually funny. It was just... I'm certainly surprised at what stuff they can get away with, because I actually found an episode that was basically uncensored, as it was streaming through Paramount or MTV or whatever. I guess MTV owns it. I don't know. I don't keep up with that anymore. But it's just I only screened it just to make sure that the file was working and that the device I used to play it back on was working, and thankfully it was. There wasn't any major discrepancies. But the only other part that I thought was kind of interesting was that basically Cartman gave Butters an ultimatum, and that if wokeness did not come back, he was going to basically kill both Butters and Eric Cartman, in case you don't know. I'm sure people probably knew that. But the joke the joke kind of made sense. I honestly thought it was like the funniest bit until they basically explained it, because I guess in some part of the show now, Butters' dad has an electric car, so that old trick of carbon monoxide just doesn't really work. Which I think the joke would have been funny if they didn't necessarily spell it out. It's like, oh, I don't know. I'm sure there's probably other jokes that have done that, but I don't know. It's like, I felt like the joke was just no longer funny after that point, because it's just like, I don't know. Maybe there's something I kind of forgot with Eric's character, that he's just an idiot that's like rude to everyone, but I don't know. It's, I don't know. I just didn't really find it that funny, honestly, the episode as a whole. Like, the stuff with Eric was like probably the only stuff that was remotely interesting. Oh, this is another thing, actually. The episode literally opens up with him being mad that one of his favorite radio stations, I guess, was canceled. That doesn't really go anywhere. That would have been a much more interesting plot if Eric was to, like, storm the White House or something, just so he can listen to his podcast at the expense of making everyone else miserable except for him. I don't know. It wasn't really that interesting. It's like, oh, okay, it starts off pretty promising. You know, Eric's brushing his teeth. He's listening to a podcast, I guess, where everyone's being stupid at each other, I guess. It's a political one, of course, so you know how well that goes. But then I just see it drops in favor of, like, separation of church and state. It's just like, wow, is this what people consider funny? Like, I get the whole point it's trying to make, I guess. Like, I get the whole thing of separation of church and state. You know, they even reference that list that even if you're not someone who's into the political game, you can definitely tell that when someone's trying to hide something, like, it just makes you really suspicious. Like, I really don't want to go into a political rant, but it's like, even if you don't follow that type of thing religiously, no pun intended, like, if someone is denying something, like, a lot, you know they have a guilty conscience. It's just going to make people even more annoyed at the fact. I don't even think the actual list itself was shown. I guess it was just kind of mentioned, which was kind of weird, because it actually was a lot more interesting when I read it up, but unfortunately when I just watched it, it was just like, wow, this isn't really that funny. I'm sure people probably end up saying it's the best South Park episode in years, because it's been a while since they actually had an episode, which is fine, I guess, in that Trey Parker and Matt don't have the balls to finally show them, man. They even reference Mr. Garrison, which for a brief period of time, there was that whole arc of him essentially portraying as the Orange Man, but this is essentially to cover up the fact that South Park never really directly referenced him, which I thought was interesting, because I thought that was really dumb. I feel like of all the characters in South Park, I feel like Mr. Garrison was the one that changed a lot, to the point that he went from, like, the crazy elementary school teacher with the puppet that he talks to. Then he had that bonding time with Mr. Slave, which I just don't think is that funny either. I prefer Big Gay Al, but for varying reasons. One of them which said Big Gay Al was actually funny. And even the cop dude, he was actually funny too. He's got a really funny voice. Like, I think the only legacy characters I've like, noticed was, like, the mayor at the end of the episode, Jumbo, I think he had a speaking role, and, of course, Satan. You know, he barely had any involvements. Like, I still can't go with the fact they used the gag twice. It wasn't even funny twice. Like, I don't know. It was just fucking dumb. I definitely was not a fan of the direction of the humor that the series has gone on for a while. And someone's like, oh, well, if you don't like it, then why don't you go back to it? Well, first of all, I didn't like South Park when whatever writing changed to the point that it just is no longer funny. Now, remember, I want you to keep in mind that I don't care if the show is offensive. You know, that's obviously a given. It's fucking South Park. It's going to make fun of everyone and everyone. My problem is that it's just not funny. Like, even playing this game, which is known to make fun of people, at least can still be funny. You still have a balance of being funny while also getting that message across that everyone's just fucking dumb. Like, even the in-game radio shows and the television shows in this game, they just speak more volumes on how fucked society is. And this was a game from 2013, and we're in 2025, soon to be 2026. It's even if you go on comments about the Republican Space Rangers or Princess Robot Bubblegum, I think you'll see people saying, "Oh, this show should come back for GTA 6 or Kung Fu Laser Space Force." I think it's called, the one where I basically make fun of Power Rangers. Like, those bits are like the most interesting, but they're also funny. You know, Rockstar basically poking fun at all the various Japanese animation tropes, which is funny. And of course, the Republican Space Rangers, you know, the whole red versus blue was political and shit. All that fun shit. It was actually funny. The lines there are just funny as hell. Even when they did that in GTA 4, it was interesting. But it's, South Park is not like that. They just poke fun at people, which is fine, but I just don't think it's funny. And also, second of all, if I didn't watch the show and yet I complained about it, apparently I wouldn't be allowed to do that because I didn't fucking watch it, which, you know, going back to Elden Ring again. I still refuse to play it, and if there's anything interesting talking about it, I'll certainly shit on it, but, you know, can't have an opinion unless you experience it firsthand. Well, I actually experienced that South Park episode firsthand, and I did not like it. Big fucking deal. Is it going to be the end of the world? Well, who knows, but all I know is that I watched it. It kind of sucked. There was some parts that were kind of interesting. Of course, it did all marks on making fun of anyone and everyone, but the quality of the humor is just gone down pretty bad. But hey, I guess that's bad because I didn't kiss the game's ass. Well, not game's ass, show's ass, excuse me. It actually makes me want to play that South Park game, the one that is basically a Turok clone. It was literally rushed for the holiday season. Kind of ironic considering that it's based off of Turok 2 in a weird way. Oh well. But yeah, that episode sucked. Now let's tell the fanboys being pissed off at me because I said South Park was unfunny.